Hello, my name is Renee Johnson. Today I'm going to give you some information on some human rights articles that I read for this class. There were 3 articles I read, and basically these articles are basically about fighting for human rights. Human rights are basic rights and freedoms to which all humans are entitled, often held to include the title to life and liberty, freedom, thought and expression, and equality before the law. However, some individuals are denied these basic rights. The articles used for this presentation today explain to us the intent of the Truth Commission, why they are important, the importance of the International Criminal Court, or ICC, global enforcement of human rights, confrontations, and using caution due to the conflicts. The first article, titled 15 Truth Commissions, 1974 to 1994, a comparative study, was written by Patricia Hayner. Hayner gives a reader an overview of what Truth Commissions are. Truth Commissions are designed to investigate human rights abuses or violations of international humanitarian laws. Now, the first article outlines the Truth Commissions that have evolved from 1974 through 1994. The first Truth Commission that was created was in Uganda in 1974, and this Truth Commission covered years from 1974 until 1992, and this commission is still in operation today. This article gives information into detail into the various Truth Commissions. I did like that there was a table in this article. I am a visual learner, and seeing a table did help me understand the information better than just reading it in an article. One of the most interesting Truth Commissions to me was the one in Chile. The table reports that 3,428 cases were presented to the Commission. These 3,428 cases were people that had been killed, they had disappeared, had been tortured to death, or kidnapped. 2,920 cases or events were investigated of these 3,428. The Commissioners spent 10 months working on these cases. One of the most troubling cases to me was the case of El Salvador. In El Salvador, 22,000 individuals were killed, tortured, kidnapped, or all the above. The shocking part to me is that only 32 cases were investigated. Yes, 32 cases out of the 22,000 people. The second article was titled, Who Shall Be Judge? The United States, the International Criminal Court, and the Global Enforcement of Human Rights. This article was by Jamie Mayerfield, and Jamie Mayerfield goes into detail about how human rights need to be preserved and wonders who should be held responsible for trying these individuals. In this article, we also learn about the International Criminal Court, or the ICC. The ICC has been authorized to prosecute individuals for genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Now, the ICC began officially on July 1st, 2002, where it was ratified by 81 countries. This surprised me due to the number of war crimes and genocide and human rights violations had been done, in the early 70s. And this didn't officially begin until 2002, some almost 28 years later. Now, the ICC has judges, prosecutors, and administrative staff on board. And the article tells us repeatedly that their purpose is the protection of individuals from genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The goal is to punish the perpetrators, but that's often easier said than done due to the fact that they are afraid to come forward if they have information for fear they may be retaliated against. They may also hurt themselves. They may disappear as well. So a lot of people that know about these crimes are just afraid to come forward, unfortunately. Now, the author asks us a lot of questions in this article. I think he wants to educate us about the turmoil and unrest in other countries. He tries to get us to figure out who's responsible for protecting human rights and who's also for enforcing them. He states that some countries have, quote, failed to stop human rights abuses after the democratic transition is normally carried out, unquote. The author tells us again that there are dilemmas in trying to enforce human rights. He says that there are supporters and opponents of the ICC, and of course there is much disagreement in terms of the most, quote, effective and responsible means of upholding human rights, unquote. Mayerfield tells us that the United States is somewhat resistant to joining the ICC. He states that there is strong opposition from the Bush administration because of the fear of U.S. citizens being prosecuted. He goes on to state that war crimes arouse the most nervousness in the United States. There is also fear of prosecution for military operations. Now, this makes sense to me that due to the fact that the United States has been involved in a number of military conflicts, such as Vietnam, Kosovo, Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan, etc., I would be interested to know how President Obama feels about the ICC and our involvement in that. I know this article talks about the Bush administration and their reluctance, so in the future I may try to figure out what his stance is and see if there's any information out there about how he feels about it and if we may join the ICC. This article is interesting to me, and I would like to learn more about how abuses are reported, though, and how the ICC responds to allegations. I would have liked less jargon regarding the laws and statutes and more of the actual processes. The last article I read was called Caution and Confrontation in the International Criminal Court's Pursuit of Accountability in Uganda and Sudan, which was written by Victor Peskin. The purpose of this article is to bring to light the pursuit of state cooperation by the chief prosecutor of the ICC. Now, the prosecutor was initially very cautious, but now has become confrontational. This article gives us information on the pursuit of apprehending rebel leaders from Uganda. It also tells us about government suspects that have been implicated for the violations of human rights and atrocities in Darfur. I learned from the second article that the Uganda Truth Commission was the first one that was created, and 308 people had disappeared. However, none of these cases were investigated in depth. 308 people disappeared, and nothing was investigated. Again, this shows me that people are just too afraid to come out and say anything. This commission worked for a period of 1 year, and later the Uganda Truth Commission of 1986 occurred, and this commission is still in effect today. I think that there's a lot more going on in these countries if they've not been able to convict anyone of these crimes, and the commission is still an ongoing process. A very sad situation there. The third article tells us that Uganda and Sudan were the court's most high-profile and most challenging situations. Luis Moreno Ocampo was the chief prosecutor of the ICC, and he wanted to investigate the Lord's Resistance Army, or the LRA. They were a Ugandan rebel group that participated in abduction of children and made them into soldiers. It seems that Moreno Ocampo was being pressured to not arrest members of the LRA. However, as peace talks progressed, he said that he would not stop trying to prosecute the individuals. Again, it's more a political thing here. He's being told not to arrest people. He wants to do what's right. But again, there's all these variables of things happening. People in high places saying, no, it's okay. Don't turn people in. No, you should turn people in. So I would not want to be in this man's position. And reading the last article, I get the impression that there's more political drama than meets the eye, obviously. Leaders are trying to do the right thing, but the fear of repercussions, it changes their mind, their decision-making. It is unfortunate that the atrocities are still occurring without people being prosecuted today. Thank you for listening to my presentation today. I've enjoyed this class this semester. I hope to continue learning about human rights and how I, as an individual, can make sure people do have their basic human rights and needs and they're being met, and learn again more about the ICC and the United States' involvement in the ICC. Thank you very much.